Hello. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel on Cat Africa Live.
Bring your business online with GoDaddy. Get all the help and tools you need to succeed. Join the millions of small businesses that trust.
Welcome to my channel on Cat Africa Live. We are about to go to live. We are already live, and as you know, I've made it a priority to come live every day at 7, but for some reason I couldn't come online for the last 2 days, and I'm sorry for that. So sorry for any inconvenience. So today, what are we talking about? We are going to talk about William Ruto, the Kenya president, William Ruto, who is now pushing for visa-free for all African countries. And as this channel has stand to push the united of African countries, the unity of African countries, and this is a very good news coming from Kenya. Since William Ruto became president somewhere last year, he has been pushing the agenda of free trade and free movement of African countries or African citizens around the continent. And somewhere last year, Mr. William Ruto has pushed again that till the end of next year or till the end of early next year, he is going to make sure Kenyans, any African who will try to enter Kenya will be free. So interesting news coming from Kenya that William Ruto has suggested that he is going to make sure every African who try to enter Kenya will be visa free. So I'm asking myself, what do you think about what Mr. William Ruto is proposing? That should Africans start making trends, should Africa start making movement of African citizens around Africa visa free? Because it is very important. It is very important to make us move free around Africa, because people have started complaining that these days moving around Africa is even difficult than moving around European countries. An African moving around Africa is very difficult than an African moving around European countries. And that is very bad. It is not good for the continent, because at the moment we need each other. We need to partner each other. We need to collaborate with each other to make sure progress of Africa has been achieved. But if we are going to continue making it difficult for an African citizen to travel to another African country, is very good. It's going to be difficult, and it's going to also limit the progress of how Africa will develop. Because at the end of the day, if I can't move freely, or if I find it difficult to move around Africa, how am I going to trade with the African country? So William Ruto, who is the Kenyan president, has started proposing that every African citizen will, from next year, will be entering into Kenya for free, visa free. Recently, we heard Ghana and South Africa venture into agreement for no visa for both countries. So if a Ghanaian is going to South Africa, he's not going to need any visa. And if a South African coming to Ghana, he's not going to need any visa. And I think starting with these policies is going to help build the strong African we have been yearning for. We cannot just stand and say Africa should unite. Yes, it's going to be very difficult. We have to put some measures in place. So we can't just stand and say, oh, Africa should unite and Africa should do. We have to start a process. But so the process they have started is very important. If Ghana and South Africa are now saying you will need a visa between these two countries to enter each other's country, and if Kenya President Mr. William Ruto is also suggesting that, and now every African citizen can enter into Kenya for free, I think that is a good start. And I'm hoping more African countries will start taking these measures. More African countries will start taking these measures. One thing I'll also be happy that Africans will start doing is more African countries collaborating for them to link with each other through railways, because now it has become very difficult for now. If I have to go to Angola from Ghana, it has to be flight. If I have to go to Cameroon from Ghana, it has to be flight. It is very dangerous to travel by road to other African countries. It's about time we can use railways. We can start collaborating with each other to build railways so that we can link with each other, and that one will also help. It will help to trade among African countries, and that is also going to open a lot of trade opportunities for most African citizens. That is going to help a lot, and it's going to help us build. It will help us build a stronger continent and a stronger economy and a whole thing. Because the whole thing is these days, since the COVID, many African countries are not. It has affected many African countries and their companies, and it is making things very difficult. It is making things very, very difficult for many African economy. So if we were able to trade among ourselves, if we were able to partner among ourselves and make sure things have been done right, I think it's going to be very good for any African country. One thing I have realized is a lot of people are saying William Ruto is a puppet, William Ruto is this, William Ruto is this. But one thing I have realized he is doing is he has been really pushing the unity of African continent, the unity of African countries. He has been pushing. First, he suggested that it is not wise for Africans to be trading in US dollars. It is not wise for African countries to be trading in US dollars. So it is better for African countries, which is AU, to set up and make sure we have one currency so that we can trade among ourselves. So he even suggested that some bank, which is Exim Bank, has make it available that now if Kenya is going to buy oil from UAE, they don't need to use visa again. They will help them to use their own local currency to buy it. So somehow William Ruto, let me read Bibi Herring-Spoon. Africa need more leaders like Honorable William Ruto. Yes, if we talk of it, the moves he's making, though he has been talking a lot, but the moves William Ruto has been making, if really he meant it well for the African continent, I think is going to be very good for the continent. So if you are going to get leaders who are going to fight for the unity of African countries, and that is the first move he has done. His first move is to make sure Kenya give visa free to other African countries. His second move is also make sure our currency or our local currency is being able to use for trading. William Ruto has been making that announcement some time ago. Ghana President Nana Akufo-Addo also was pushing the same agenda, but somewhere along the line, a whole lot of things has happened, and Ghana has ended up at the IMF, and the Ghana economy has turned into something which a lot of people are saying now the man has really compromised his dignity, and they think he's a puppet. Because when Ghana President Nana Akufo-Addo came, he was also one man who was pushing for the unity of Africa. He was even campaigning and trumpeting Africa beyond aid. Africa beyond aid. But at the end of the day, a lot of things has gone wrong, and Ghana end up at IMF, and all these visions has also collapsed. I don't know what has happened. So we are wishing, if William Ruto, which is the Kenyan president, what he's proposing, he's also going to take action towards these proposals, and it won't just be what do they call it? Just talking. You get it? It won't just be talking. He has to make the move to make sure that, okay, now I already know if a Ghanaian is traveling to Kenya, he don't need visa. I already know that because I've been in Kenya. I've stayed in Kenya for 5 years, and we were not going with visa. It was visa free. But if now they are deciding to make it visa free for other African countries, that is also going to be very happy. Africa, we need a way of collaborating with each other. From there, let's talk about our currency. Let's also look through how we can trade among ourselves, because the manner things are going, we can see what is happening in Israel and Palestine. We can see what is happening between Russia and Ukraine. We can't rely on the Western countries. Africa, we can't rely on the Western countries, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of conflict going on in Europe, conflict going on in America, conflict going on in all these countries. And when the conflict starts happening in all these countries, it starts affecting Africa economically. And because we end up, most of African countries' exports are huge. We export a lot of goods from Russia, like grains. We export a lot of goods from Ukraine. We export a lot of goods from other Western countries. So anytime conflict starts happening there, then we end up affecting African countries. So it's about time we have to look within the continent, start partnering among Africans. We have to start partnering, and we have to build the unity agenda. We have to start building the unity agenda, because Africa, we have a lot of resources. Africa have a lot of resources. We have both natural resources, and we have a lot. Africans have a lot of mineral resources and a whole lot of human resources. We are the biggest continent in the world. So there is nothing we can't achieve. Africans, there is nothing we can't achieve. We can achieve anything. So it's about time, Africa, we have to take these measures. And when a leader propose all this visa free and all this, they also have to make sure it's not just talking, they have to talk, they have to walk the talk. They have to walk the talk. And it has been today I was listening to the video, or I was watching the video, and he was making a whole lot of sense. He was making a whole lot of sense. So I wish more African leaders will join Mr. Ruto so that they can come up with this agenda. One thing Africa is facing, one thing African countries, most African countries are facing, one of the difficult things they are facing is how we can collaborate with each other. Most of African countries, we can't collaborate with each other. I have said it several times. More Africans lean on more European countries and American countries than African countries. As I'm sitting here, if you ask me anything about other African countries like Togo, like Nigeria, like Benin, if you ask me any question about their culture, I'll be here without knowing anything. I can't tell you, and it will be most of Ghana here. If you ask who is the leader of Zimbabwe, who is the leader of, they can't even mention their name. But we are here and we know everything about America. We know everything about European countries. But among ourselves, we don't know anything about each other. And that is where the problems comes in. We don't know each other's culture, but we are one people. The borders were created by colonial masters. These borders were created by colonial masters. So if we are going to sit down and decide to lean our leniency or pay solidarity, I just even saw news of how genocide is happening in Congo. Genocide is happening in Congo. A lot of people are being murdered through some resources which has become tug of war in that region. But as I can see, there is no African media, no media platform is reporting it. A lot of media platforms, African media platforms, has focused on Israel and Palestine, and we are having the same thing which is happening in Israel and Palestine in Congo, and no one is talking about it. That is where we fall short when it comes to African continent. We don't know anything about each other. A Ghanaian will be sitting here watching everything European, watching everything American. We end up not knowing anything about each other. It's about time we partner among ourselves. We partner because we are one people. Recently, it came to light that we already know. It came to light that majority of people living in Ivory Coast are actually Akan tribe from Ghana. Majority of people living in Ivory Coast are actually Akan tribe from Ghana. And you can imagine, majority of Ghanaians don't know even their own brothers and sisters are those who moved to Ivory Coast. So they also speak Twi, they have Ghana names and all these kind of things. We don't know anything about it. So what William Ruto has proposed is one of the best decisions and best policies that is going to start the unification of African continent. It's going to start the unification of African continent. Let's start giving free visas for most of African. It doesn't mean we should just be allowing anybody, any bad person in our country. This decision is going to help, or is going to start something big that can help us collaborate with each other, because talented people can now travel across other African countries to also help them develop something that, like, let's say Nigerians are now good in music. Nigerians are now good in music. Imagine them also going to Kenya or coming to Ghana to help to collaborate with our artists and things, so that we can all rise together. So when we talk of African music, it's not going to be only Nigerian music. We are going to have Kenyans, we are going to have Ghanaians, we are going to have Ugandans. So gradually, if we are able to put ourselves together, we are going to have a stronger continent. And let me promise you, Africa is going to be one of the best continents in the world. We have the resources, we have the gold, we have the diamonds, we have the cocoa, we have the oils, we have everything that can help us develop. But if we don't put policies down, we are always going to be last. Please, as I've been telling you, I am starting livestock farming at my village. I've gotten the land and I've gotten a whole lot of things in place, but I will need all of your support. So you can see my description. If you go through my description box, you are going to see the what do you call it, my bank information. So anybody who want to help me with anything, you can support me with anything, so that it can also help me to start my livestock farming. And you can also donate through the YouTube live super thanks, and super. You can donate some small thing, and I'm going to receive it. So please, if you go through my description box, you will see all my information, and you can contribute something so that I can start my livestock farming. Already I've gotten the land. If you go through my videos, you are going to see when I visited the land and how I videoed and everything. You are going to see. So I have evidence there. And now it's left with structures that I will put on the land. So that is what I'm trying to seek for some support, so that I'll put the structures and start getting some animals, so that I can start my livestock farming. Please don't also forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button, so that anytime I upload any great content, you'll be notified. And I also want to ask, as it's in the form of question, do you think Africa, like what the Kenyan president is doing, do you think starting from visa-free is going to help Africa unification? Do you think African giving visa-free for other African countries will help start the unification of Africa? The unity of Africa is very important to me. If Africa unites, we are going to be very successful continent. Now, let me bore you with my talking. So let me read of common man. Good idea. Good luck with your farm. Thank you very much. I want to say something. Now, Africa, because of we don't have we are not united. So when Africans are going to the world market with what do we call it? We are going to the world market with our goods or our resources. Each country goes alone. So Ivory Coast normally goes with their cocoa. Ghana also goes with their cocoa. What we don't know is that most of the times when we are doing such stuff, there was a time when I realized the Ghanaians sent cocoa to some of the Western countries, and they told them that the cocoa is not fermented enough. It was not dried well. So they told Ghanaians to send back their cocoa to Ghana. And Ghanaians couldn't do that. The government couldn't do that. So what they did is they gave it to these people for free. They gave it for them for peanut money. And at the end of the day, they knew if Ghana, they don't get Ghana cocoa, they are going to get Ivory Coast cocoa. So it was a strategy to beat them so that they can get the Ghana cocoa very cheap. And they succeed because you can't bring the cocoa back. they succeed. So imagine Africans going to world market with one as a one continent. If you don't get cocoa from Africa, you are not going to get it from another place, because the other place you are going to get it from, it can't be enough for you. It can't be enough for you. So you end up submitting to the African cocoa. But now South Africa will go with their gold, Ghana will go with their gold, Nigeria will go with their oil, Ghana will go with their oil. So they can decide to pick and choose. But if Africa, we should have been going to the world market with one, as a one entity, we should have been succeeding. We should have been competing with most of the continents. And that is where the problems comes in. That is where we have been falling short. We shouldn't deceive ourselves and say that, oh, these African country people, these guys are not good, Nigerians are this, Ghanaians are this, so when they come to our country, no, all that thing was programmed by the colonial masters. The borders you see between us were created by colonial masters. So don't put in your mind that when Africa unites, things are going to be messed. No. When Africa unites, we are going to achieve a lot of big things, and it is very necessary for us to unite. It is very necessary for us to unite. So kudos to the Kenyan President William Ruto, who has suggested that he is going to make sure every African enter Kenya for visa free. That is a very big kudos to him. It's really good idea, and I hope many African leaders are going to follow the suit. As I have said, please subscribe to my channel, and tomorrow, Monday, 7 o'clock, I'll be here again for different topic, and I hope you join me for that. Please, thanks for watching, and good night. It's around 7:47 in Ghana. I don't know where you are, but I know you are having a great time. So thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. GMT. Bye. Thanks for watching.